also calls, the budget also calls for purchase of 8 F-15s, and there are concerns that you're going to lower the number of F-35s that are bought. What's the reason for buying the F-15s?
We go along the lines of what the Defense Department has requested with their 5-year defense program. It's an allocation of different planes, including the F-35 and the F-18, the Super Hornets. So this is something that has been requested by the military, and we think it's something that will make sense when Congress considers it. John?
Yeah, just 2 questions. One, you mentioned what the President promised during the campaign. During the campaign, he also promised that he would eliminate the national debt within 8 years. And as you know, the debt at the end of his first year was at $20 trillion. Last year it went to $21 trillion. Last month, $22 trillion. So what happened to that promise? I mean, the President has added historically large numbers to the national debt instead of keeping a promise to actually pay it off.
Look, again, the last administration nearly doubled the national debt, and when this president ran for office, he made a commitment to the American people that he would attempt to tackle the debt within 8 years. This president did that the very first year that he came to office by sending forth a budget that balanced within 10 years and had more spending reductions than any in history.
Well, he's added $2 trillion, more than $2 trillion to the national debt.
He also came into office and had an economic recovery that was needed to put people back to work, get the economy going, and to rebuild the military, and had historic levels of military at $700 and $716 billion in national defense dollars. At the same time, Congress has been ignoring the president's spending reductions for the last 2 years. It's only now in our 3rd budget that they're willing to have a conversation about the national debt. We've been trying to have it since we got to office. The president is putting forward these reductions. He's putting forward a 5% cut to non-defense discretionary spending. He's putting forward reforms to mandatory programs that are on autopilot while keeping his commitment to American seniors by not making changes to Medicare and Social Security.
Yes. 2 quick questions. One, to go back to drill down a little bit on what John Carl asked. If the deficit is such a problem, why not at least cut the rate of increase to the defense and to the defense budget? And secondly, he has said promises kept, but we're cutting Medicare. How does that keep his promise to the American people?
He's not cutting Medicare in this budget. What we are doing is putting forward reforms that lower drug prices, that because Medicare pays a very large share of drug prices in this country, has the impact of finding savings. We're also finding waste, fraud, and abuse, but Medicare spending will go up every single year by healthy margins, and there are no structural changes for Medicare beneficiaries.
The defense budget, why not at least cut the rate of increase if the deficit is such concern, if it's in the trillions? Why not cut at least the increase?
Because he's the commander-in-chief, and he thinks it's important to secure the country. It's one of his most basic constitutional responsibilities. The military put forward a 5-year defense plan. It was done over a series of years about the needs, which gets back to John's question. We are going along with that 5-year defense plan. In addition, we're putting additional dollars towards the military construction funds that we have tapped. Fred.
Yeah, thanks, Russ. Yeah, a couple. One, could you address 2 major drivers in long-term spending, which would be baseline budgeting and entitlement spending in general? And secondly, this seems maybe a little bit more ambitious in terms of savings than previous budgets you've proposed. And I wonder why that would be, since you're now dealing with a Democratic House, whereas in the past you might have been able to get more than 3.
It's very in line with previous budgets. We balance in 15 years. Our first budget balanced in 10. One of the reasons that we were unable to balance quicker is because it gets harder each and every year that Congress doesn't go along with our spending reductions. You mentioned mandatory spending. It is a driver. We have more reforms than any president's budget in history. But look, what has happened for far too long is that Congress has blamed mandatory spending and then increased discretionary spending, which they have a vote on every single year by large degrees. They continue to let a paradigm exist in this country that says for every dollar in defense spending, we're going to increase non-defense spending by $1. We think we need to break that paradigm. We don't think that that paradigm allows us to be able to get our fiscal house in order.
Thanks, Russ. Realistically, the administration is not going to get $8.6 billion for wall funding through this budget. Are there other executive actions that you have been looking at in order to pursue, that despite the national emergency being declared and the Treasury asset forfeiture and the drug enforcement dollars, that you could use in order to continue to fill the additional funding that you say is necessary for the wall?
Right now, we are focused on spending the money that Congress gave us in the last appropriations bill and the money that we have identified as part of declaring a national emergency and spending that well. And this $8.6 billion is geared towards what we would need in addition to complete that wall.
Russ, I mean, I know this administration has talked about the importance of infrastructure, and you propose a $200 billion infrastructure this year. But last year there were cuts to other programs that would have caused a net decrease to infrastructure spending. So would there be a net increase in infrastructure spending under this budget?
What most people refer to when they look and make that assertion is they're looking at the fact that the trust fund doesn't have enough revenues coming into it. This budget looks at the baseline and assumes that that's to be the case, but we are totally ready and willing to talk with Congress about how to ensure that there's additional dollars in the federal trust fund and to put forward additional $200 billion in new investment to make sure that it's not just a surface transportation bill, that when we need money for broadband or other infrastructure, that is also something that we can pursue.
Yes, thanks. So it sounds like you're saying that the administration needed to take on deficit spending the first couple of years because the economy needed the kick, but we also hear from the administration that this is an economy that is roaring right now. So with that being the premise, how do you square having deficits in 2019, 2020, 21, and 2022, 4 years going forward of $1 trillion+ deficits? How is that fiscal conservatism?
I wouldn't say that we needed deficits to get the economy starting. I would say that we put forward spending reductions that were aimed at a balanced budget, and we have each and every year. We do have large deficits. That's why we're here transparently saying that we have a problem as a country. That it takes a long time to get out of that mess. We came into office and faced $10.5 trillion right off the bat. And instead of being with us and considering our proposals and allowing us to make the factual case for why the American people would be better off under these reforms, Congress just hasn't been willing to play ball, even though they have the power of the purse.
It seems like, Russ, just to pick up on that real quick, it seems like one of the ways you're trying to go at it is by reducing non-defense discretionary spending. Defense spending over the next 10 years, $7.7 trillion, but non-defense discretionary, $5 trillion. Do you really believe that Congress is going to yank spending down that significantly over the next decade?
We believe that every budget is an opportunity to put forward our vision of the next 10 years. We are doing that in this budget, and we are saying to the American people, we can no longer afford the paradigm that Congress keeps giving us, which is that we're never going to make any trade-offs, that we're never going to align what we spend with what we take in, that we're not going to do what every family does across the country in trying to figure out what they can afford before they go out and spend. So yes, we are trying to say that we need to continue to secure the country. We need to continue to secure the border. We're not going to be bashful about that, but at the same time, we're also going to say that we have many, many programs that are wasteful and inefficient that we can no longer afford. Phil.
Russ, you called on me next. I'm sorry, Russ.
Sure.
You came to me when he said his next question. I want to go to the least of these, welfare reform and SNAP. How much money is proposed for welfare, for this welfare to work initiative with job training and also with SNAP? What are the lessons learned that you're trying to, I guess, reshape this harvest box proposal? Because it came under great criticism before, and now you're proposing it again. Could you talk about those two issues?
It did receive criticism, but we thought those criticisms were unmerited, and we're not going to walk away from the proposal as it pertains to the harvest box. Look, we think there's nothing wrong with putting forward a reform that says, in addition to your normal food stamp spending benefits that you would get at the retail, that you would get a harvest box that allows you to get a more balanced meal and to save money to the taxpayers at the same time. In terms of work requirements, it's something that has long been viewed as a success since the 1990s. We expand on it. It is something that we have long viewed as important to be able to take the same principles of reducing dependency that we saw in TANF and then apply them to housing and to food stamps and to Medicaid.
But there's some people, there's some people that slip through the cracks, and they may need job training. Are there funds proposed for job training if you're going to do this welfare to work initiative?
Absolutely. The Department of Labor receives an adequate amount of funding in an era where we have $1 trillion deficits. There will be many, many workforce development programs that are funded as part of this budget.
A lot of the discussion has been in terms of the federal debt, but can you address the federal unfunded liabilities. Where does that number stand right now, and what does this budget do to address, that much larger number?
Look, we have a lot of debts as a country. We're trying to take it on head on. We're trying to say that $22 trillion is not acceptable, that we can't go forward with $1 trillion every single year, and that the way to start doing that is to pursue the types of reforms where we think that the American people will have an opportunity to see how their lives would be better off under our proposals. We do that in federal retirement benefits. We do that in student loans. We do that in welfare reforms. We think that in each one of these scenarios, we're going to be able to encourage the kind of conversation that allows us to get our house in order.
Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. Lastly, quick comment. We extend our prayers to the loved ones and friends and family of those killed in the tragic crash of Ethiopian Airlines Flight ET-302. At least 8 U.S. citizens were among the victims. We are working with the government of Ethiopia and Ethiopian Airlines to offer all possible assistance. With that, I will take your questions. John.
Sarah, the president said that Democrats hate Jewish people, according to a recent report. We've also seen him tweet in the last couple of days that Democrats are the, quote, anti-Jewish party. Does the president really believe Democrats hate Jews?
Look, the president's been an unwavering and committed ally to Israel and the Jewish people. And frankly, the remarks that have been made by a number of Democrats and failed to be called out by Democrat leadership is frankly abhorrent, and it's sad, and it's something that should be called by name. It shouldn't be put in a watered-down resolution. It should be done the way the Republicans did it when Steve King made terrible comments. We called it out by name. We stripped him of his committee memberships, and we'd like to see Democrats follow suit.
But first of all, you mentioned Steve King. The president, correct me if I'm wrong, has not condemned Steve King. What he said, praising white supremacy. Has the president publicly come out and said anything
I
to
speak on
criticize or
behalf of the
condemn?
president on a number of topics, and I've talked about that a number of times, and I'd refer you back to those comments where I used words like abhorrent and unacceptable. John?
We're getting some word that the president plans to nominate Patrick Shanahan later this week to be the Secretary of Defense, elevating him from the acting position. Can you tell us whether or not that is going to happen?
I am not going to make any personnel announcements at this time. I can tell you that the president has a great deal of respect for acting Defense Secretary Shanahan. He likes him, and when the president's ready to make an announcement on that front, he certainly will.
There are a lot of actings in the administration these days. Any possibility of removing acting from Mick Mulvaney's title?
Certainly a lot of possibility there. Some of the reason that we have actings is because we're waiting on the confirmation process, at least for a couple of those folks, and we hope that that moves forward quickly.
Sarah, I wanted to follow up on what the latest with China is. Has the president made an offer for a Mar-a-Lago date? And there's also some reports that the Chinese feel the president's an
Breaking news, a CHP officer is injured after a crash on the peninsula. We have a live report from the scene. Plus, San Francisco has a new public defender, and he is no stranger to the city office. It's all coming up next.
Music, when Momo kicks it into high gear, is going to get a little bit loud in here, so your customers are going to have a hard time hearing you, so you may want to...
What?
It can happen just about anywhere.
It can happen anytime to anyone.
Do you know what to do if you face sexual harassment? Learn more at cbscares.tv.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
There are lots of families like the Johnsons.
Dave's just being polite. Well, I hate polite. I like leave me alone.
But not in this neighborhood.
Do white people not use washcloths? Do black people use washcloths? Really?
Cedric the Entertainer and Max Greenfield.
Hey, neighbor.
Star in the new comedy that has everyone totally wigging out.
I'm a bad...
Shut your mouth.
Come on over to The Neighborhood. CBS Monday, 8/7 Central.
It's a big responsibility.
Oh, it's huge. I know, it's huge.
And the salary.
Oh my god, yes. I mean,
Right?
like, I was about to move in with my parents, and right before, yeah, so this saved me.
I really believe in you, you know?
Thank you. It's nice to hear that from someone.
These are cool. Did you, what did you...
It can happen at work.
It can happen at school.
It can happen just about anywhere. Do you know what to do if you face sexual harassment?
Learn more at cbscares.tv.
Yeah, I'm watching it too. I see them every day.
Curtains. They're always drawn in this place.
I know.
That guy seems like he's in charge of them. I don't know. I don't feel very good about this.
We have to report this.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything that you've heard about me is a lie. I am the kindest, sweetest person you will ever meet. That's ridiculous. Are you nuts? When you act stupid, stupid things happen.
Wow.
Wow, huh? They don't just keep me here because I'm a pretty face.
Judge Judy's all new at 4:30 on KPIX 5.
Long work hours, longer commutes. Part of living in the Bay Area. We can't fix it, but we can give you more.
All that and much more.
The CBS Evening News, now at 6:30, followed by the new KPIX 5 News at 7. With Ken Bastida and Elizabeth Cook, Paul Diano's weather, and the original reporting you've come to expect. You're working harder, and so are we. Weeknights on KPIX 5. Expect more.
It's all right that the world is crazy, as long as I make my little corner of the world sane. It's time to fight. Oh my God, oh my God. Oh dear God. Oh boy.
The Good Fight. All episodes now streaming.
It's about time and what the Bay Area wants to know. Starting with KPIX 5 News.
It begins with breaking news.
When Alan Martin and Veronica Dela Cruz bring you a full hour at 5. Followed by Ken Bastida and Elizabeth Cook at 6. Then, expect award-winning original reporting.
These are the worst wins.
With Jeff Glor and the CBS Evening News at 6:30. Expect more news when you're home to watch. Weeknights on KPIX 5.
Sometimes feud is fun. But sometimes...
After you murder someone...
It's a killer.
Name something you must quickly get rid of.
The weapon that you use.
You gotta clean up all the blood.
The bullet shells.
You're gonna have to get rid of the witnesses.
This family over here got some good ass. I'm going
Family Feud.
Weeknights at 7:30 on KPIX 5.
No matter what you do, we'll never stop looking. We do what we were put here to do. Keep everyone safe.
Move in now. FBI, don't move. Stand up and fight.
You are going to get through this.
I promise to keep them safe.
Thanks for having my back.
I always got your back.
FBI, CBS Tuesday after NCIS.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Something happened at the mill.
7 murders.
It's party, people. Let's keep dancing.
This is Hawaii, and this is the island's best private investigator.
You're good. Thank you.
But even the best
You're late.
needs backup.
I need somebody who's good with computers.
You mean someone who's good at hacking? I've got something.
Is that necklace really a spy camera?
Touch it, I break your fingers. Magnum won't quit until he gets the truth.
Up high. You're enjoying this, aren't you?
More than you know.
Magnum PI, CBS Monday, 9/8 Central.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
It can happen when you least expect it.
It can happen where you least expect it. Do you know what to do if you face sexual harassment? Learn more at cbscares.tv.
Bye-bye.
Get up safe.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good.
I'm here to talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I bring the Halo world to life.
Is that you?
That is me. I wasn't a math genius and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things.
I want your job.
I want you to have my job.
There's a place that can help you be the man you've always dreamed of being.
You are a beast, and the beast knows no bounds.
Tell me what you want.
To manifest my will.
6 weeks ago, I got a friend request from someone calling themselves God. They started sending me people in need of help.
This God account, is that for real?
The account, yes. God, no.
Maybe he's thinking about it in a way that you can't.
You're basically working for the God account now.
Trying to be some kind of guardian angel?
No, I don't believe in God.
You a guardian atheist?
God friended me. CBS Sunday after 60 Minutes. Sunday.
We're from NCIS.
Who?
The Naval Criminal Investigative Service.
Navy? You're sailors?
In the streets of LA.
These are bad guys that need to be stopped.
Only one team
Federal agents! You gotta go save the world.
knows how to turn up the heat.
Federales?
I just choose not to converse with the stormtroopers of a fascist regime.
You know, I actually wish they'd let us wear stormtrooper outfits. You would look amazing in stormtrooper armor.
NCIS Los Angeles, Sunday.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie. Nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
It's not my first time bartending, so.
It's a sausage party in here.
It's fine. I'm very familiar.
Yeah, because you're a sexy girl, Sam. Last thing, totally last thing.
Yeah.
Is that the music, when Momo kicks it into high gear, is going to get a little bit loud in here. So your customers are going to have a hard time hearing you. So you may want to.
What?
It can happen just about anywhere.
It can happen anytime to anyone.
Do you know what to do if you face sexual harassment? Learn more at cbscares.tv.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows? Maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
There are lots of families like the Johnsons.
Dave's just being polite. Well, I hate polite. I like leave me alone.
But not in this neighborhood.
Do white people not use washcloths? Do black people use washcloths? Really?
Cedric the Entertainer and Max Greenfield.
Hey, neighbor.
Star in the new comedy that has everyone totally wigging out.
I'm a bad...
Shut your mouth.
Come on over to The Neighborhood. CBS Monday, 8/7 Central.
It's a big responsibility.
Oh, it's huge. I know, it's huge.
And the salary.
Oh my god, yes. I
Right?
mean, like, I was about to move in with my parents, and right before, yeah, so this saved me.
I really